like if you found the video valuable. In the heart of Mumbai's chaotic sprawl, where neon lights flickered above smoky tea stalls and the sound of distant trains hummed through the night, a woman named Mira Devine vanished without a trace. She wasn't a celebrity. She wasn't rich. She wasn't powerful. But her disappearance would haunt the city forever. Mira was a librarian at the Churchgate Public Library. A quiet, almond-eyed woman in her mid-30s with a love for handwritten letters, vintage keys, and Tolstoy. She lived in a modest flat with a parrot named Kalu and a stack of unsent postcards she collected from bookstalls. One rainy evening in July, Mira left work as usual. She was seen locking up the library at 7:35 p.m. by a flower vendor across the street. She took her usual route home, a 15-minute walk, and then, nothing. She never arrived. When her landlord raised the alarm the next morning, the police treated it like a routine missing persons case. People disappear in Mumbai all the time. But when Inspector Dev Malhotra took over the case 2 days later, things began to twist. The first clue: Mira's flat was untouched. Her purse, ID, and keys were on the table. Kalu, the parrot, was unfed and restless. But on her desk, there was a typewritten letter addressed to no one. It read, "If I'm gone by the time you read this, it's already too late. Please don't trust the mirror." There was no signature, no fingerprints. And Mira didn't own a typewriter. Dev found that odd. The handwriting, or lack of it, seemed too deliberate. Who types a note that cryptic and leaves it behind like a calling card? Stranger connections. The investigation deepened. Mira had no enemies, no debts, and no lovers, at least none her friends knew of. But when Dev traced her calls, he found one curious number she dialed every Friday night at exactly 9:13 p.m. The number belonged to a public payphone at Dongri Cemetery. CCTV showed Mira standing by the phone each week, dialing, waiting, then hanging up after exactly 1 minute, never speaking. And every time, she carried a single white envelope and dropped it into a rusted letterbox nearby. The letterbox hadn't been used officially since 2006. A hidden room. Churchgate Library was old, built in 1892. During a stormy night, a water pipe burst, forcing temporary closure. Dev took the opportunity to re-examine Mira's workspace. Behind a false back in the archives, he found a narrow spiral staircase leading down to a bricked room. Dust clung to the air like cobwebs. Inside were stacks of handwritten journals, all by Mira. Each was labeled only with dates, years of entries detailing not her life, but someone else's. Each journal chronicled a man named Rahil Vyas, who'd lived in 1947 and had died, according to Mira, 3 times. The last entry in the newest journal was dated the same day she disappeared. It read, "Rahil came to the mirror again. This time, he asked for me by name. I told him no, but he smiled and said, 'You're already halfway in.'" The mirror. Dev found it in the library basement. Covered in a cloth, it stood 8 feet tall, framed in mahogany. It wasn't listed in any inventory. The glass had no reflection. None. Dev waved, jumped, turned on his phone light, nothing bounced back. The surface was obsidian, cool to touch, but showed no image at all. And at the bottom of the mirror, carved into the wood, was a phrase, "Truth ends where memory begins." That night, Dev had the mirror moved to a forensic lab. But by morning, it was gone. The man from 3B. A breakthrough came when a neighbor in Mira's building recalled a man, middle-aged, always in black, who had visited Mira regularly for months. He called himself a collector, the neighbor said, always polite. "Gave me a rose once." Dev pulled CCTV from nearby stores and caught a partial view of the man. Facial recognition came up blank. No digital footprint, no ID match. He did, however, spot the man again, on a recent tape, walking out of Mira's building the night she disappeared, holding what looked like a journal. That journal would appear on Dev's desk 3 days later. The journal's secret. The journal's pages were blank, until exposed to heat. Dev held them under a lamp and revealed invisible ink. What he read chilled him. Rahil is a ghost in ink and reflection. He passes through people who remember him. That's how he survives, through memory, not spirit. The mirror is his anchor. But I found a way to lock him in again. I just have to go in and forget who I am. Dev stopped reading. The final line simply said, "Kalu will remember me." The parrot speaks. Dev returned to Mira's flat. Kalu was still alive, chirping random phrases. Mostly nonsense, except for one sentence it kept repeating, "Don't trust the mirror." Don't trust the mirror. Don't. Dev played back recordings of Myra's voice. It was her. Kalu had memorized her warning. The collector returns. Dev set a trap. He published a fake report in the local paper claiming the mirror was recovered and would be displayed at a public art event. The collector came, tall, pale, and expressionless. Dev confronted him as he tried to enter the exhibit hall. No ID, no emotion, just a calm, chilling smile. She went willingly, he said. You wouldn't understand. Dev arrested him, but within hours, he vanished from the locked cell. The footage? Corrupted. In the cell, Dev found a final letter. It was addressed to him, typed. You saw the mirror too. You felt it. We always find the curious ones. The ending that wasn't. A year passed. Mira was never found. Her case was closed, listed as missing, presumed deceased. But Dev knew better, because sometimes, late at night, as he dozed off at his desk, he'd see a reflection, not his own, in the dark screen of his laptop. A flash of Myra's eyes. The flutter of a bird's wings. And once, just once, he heard a whisper from the shadows behind him. Truth ends where memory begins. He turned quickly. The screen was blank, but on the table beside him was a white envelope. Unmarked. The end.